Erica Endicott. I am a community manager with Hayden Homes. I'm currently in our Redmond, Oregon model home, and I'm super excited to show you some fall and winter maintenance tips today. I have my marketing team as well as my customer service technician with me today. A little bit about Hayden Homes. We started over 30 years ago right here in Central Oregon. We build in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. And locally, we are in Bend, Redmond, and Sisters. So I'm really excited to introduce you to Shay Patterson. He is our customer service technician here in Central Oregon. Come with me.
Hi there, I am Shay with Hayden Homes Warranty. I warranty down here in Redmond. Want to give you a couple tips and tricks for wintertime and fall. So let's start the water heater here. A couple things on the water heater. I wanted to show you how to reignite it if you ever needed to reignite, and then also where the water shut off is at for it as well. So down here at the bottom, this here is where you have to reignite the water heater. It does have the red dial here and the flashing status light. If it is flashing, that means you are good to go. If it's not flashing, we got a problem. Probably no hot water at the shower. So we want to turn this dial all the way to the pilot setting. Press this button and press this button repeatedly for upwards of 30 seconds to get this light to flash again. That means we have ignition. After that, you can turn the dial back to either your A, B, C settings. To put it in perspective, A is roughly 120 degrees. So that's probably where you want it, depending on how you like your hot water. This here would be where you would drain your water heater if you ever needed to. And if we go to the top of the water heater here, you can see that there is a water shutoff for the water heater if you ever needed to do service on it. It's a red lever that you can turn, quarter valve to turn it off. With that being said, let's hop into the living room and let's check out the thermostat, go over the air filter, and then go over the smoke alarms for you. So come with me.
Hi everyone, to everyone who's just joining us. We're doing a fall home maintenance tips and tricks here in Central Oregon. No questions currently, so keep on going.
All right, so here we are at your lovely thermostat. Now, you may have changed your thermostat or you might have the same one still, but a couple things I wanted to show you on this one. There is a schedule function, and keep in mind, I really do recommend you read your thermostat manual. There's a lot of tricks in here too. But really what I want to talk about here is just reminding you to keep your temperature set at above 65 degrees when you're away from home this year, when you go, Thanksgiving or Christmas or what have you. It's not going to benefit you to turn the thermostat off, and it's not going to benefit you to turn it down really low. So 65 is going to keep the house warm, your pipes from freezing, and at that point, some folks are going to want to open cabinet doors too to let the pipes in the kitchen or the bathroom stay heated as well. Again, there are your temperature controls and such like that too. Also, you can leave the fan in the on position for taking the filter out. Just makes it a little bit easier for you so you're not fighting that when you're putting it back up. So why don't we hop over to the air filter, which is just around the corner here. So if we come over here, on our ceiling we have our register where our air filter goes. Now this one for this home is going to be a 20 by 20 by 1. It's really easy to change. There's two clips on this side. It'll come back down, and as you notice, the air filter didn't fall. That's pretty exciting because you get dust on you if it did, if it's an older one. So by yanking that down, set it aside, grab your new filter. For this demonstration, we are going to use a 20 by 20 by 1 filter. On the actual filter itself, it has a directional arrow for the flow. So you just want to make sure that you got the flow going the right way. Also on the box for the register, there's tabs up here on all four sides that you can bend so that the air filter will sit nice and tight so that when it does turn off, it doesn't clank against the grate. So it's as easy as just popping it back in there. It holds it up for you, and then take the lid and close it over. So that's as easy as that. Do we have any questions so far yet?
We don't. So if anyone has any home maintenance questions for Shay, feel free to ask them in the messages and we will make sure that they get answered, but we don't have any currently.
All right, well, we'll move right along then to your smoke alarm and carbon monoxide detector. So the living room is a combination of smoke and carbon. Bedrooms are going to be just smoke. A good way to tell which ones you have is by the vents. We have vents on both sides of the unit, And in the bedrooms, you only have the one vent. So if they have two vents, it's a smoke and carbon alarm. There's also an indicator light on it as well that will tell you if you have a dead battery, because sometimes it's hard to pinpoint which one that is. But it'll also pinpoint and tell you which one that the battery is dead. It will flash red on you, as well as do an audible chirp, always at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. A lot of the times, these batteries are going to be AA's and 9 volts, so you just want to double check and make sure you're prepared before you need them. Something we recommend is changing them out once a year on, gosh, I want to say the time change. Daylight savings time. There we go. I knew it was there. With that being said, we're done in here. We're ready to hop outside where we can go over the gutter, foundation vent plugs, and styrofoam vent or cover for the hose bib. And then we'll also talk about the irrigation system, winterizing that too.
Awesome. It is a beautiful day here in Central Oregon. It's nice and warm for fall. So we are here. Oh, we're going to do the gutters, I believe, first.
Yep, so here we are at a lovely section of gutter, so you get a real representation for what you got. Couple things here. We've got a little section of gutter. We have our gutter cleaning tool. You know, if you got lots of debris in there or big needles and stuff, it's probably easier to take your gutter cleaning tool. Something like this you can pick up from Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware. I mean, any of those kind of places will carry it. Any hardware store, really. But you really just want to make sure you press it in here and go with the gutter so that way you get any debris out of it. Obviously, it's clean, so I can't show you what it looked like, but it would be nasty, I'm sure. Also, you can hose them out with like a garden hose or something like that as well, which probably, depending on, you know, here in Central Oregon, you can probably get away with that. Next thing we'll talk about is we'll go over to our foundation vents, and we'll talk about the styrofoam vent plugs you put in the wintertime, and then the hose bib covers too. So coming along over here, on this house, we have perfect setup here. So we have our foundation vents, and in the, you know, here in Central Oregon, it does get pretty dang cold. So we want to remind you guys to put these styrofoam plugs in. You can get these again from Lowe's or Home Depot or most any hardware store. They are two of them placed together. So you do want to break these apart, so that way you have two pieces now, and that will fit one vent. So what we do here at this point is take the vent and place it down into the well here. And I'll put both of them in just so we're all on the same page. But there's one, and we'll take this one, make sure the notch lines up with the notch down here. And then we will place that in like so, and then that's going to protect your home. You can leave one vent plug out that's not near a water line, just so you get a little bit extra ventilation in the crawl space. We don't want it stagnant down there, but you still want to protect your pipes too. That being said, let's move over to the hose bib.
Right before we move over to the hose bib, we do have one question. How often should you clean your gutters?
Ooh, that's a good question. Depending on where you're at is really the answer to that. But I would always check them at least once a year. A good time to kind of do that would be around daylight savings time, just because you're thinking about the smoke alarms and all that good stuff. So yeah, definitely once a year at least. If you are in a neighborhood that has a lot of tree needles, then you might have to do it upwards of 2 times a year. But in a community that just has you know, leaf trees, you could probably get away with once a year on that.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions before we move along?
There are not any other questions. Feel free to ask Shay any home maintenance warranty questions you have about preparing your home for fall if you have any, but we can move on to the hose bibs.
Challenge accepted. Let's move along here. Okay. So here we have our hose bib. A couple things with these I just want to kind of show you. You know, they are designed to be frost free. So if we turn the water on, our water comes out as normal. And when we turn it off, it's going to drain a little bit. And that's just because it's at a slight angle, which allows that water to get off the valve so it doesn't freeze and break. If you leave a garden hose on, it cannot do that. So that will freeze in the hose and work its way in the wall and break. Unfortunately, you probably wouldn't know about it till springtime when you go to wash your car or water your plants, and you come inside and you got a little bit of a water mess. So do your due diligence, take that garden hose off every time you're done using it, just get used to that habit. And then in the wintertime, get these styrofoam covers like so. Again, any hardware store will carry these things. It has a little loop, so you just basically loop it over the nozzle there, pull this section tight like so, and then we just tighten it up. And that's going to protect your investment. That's what it's going to do. Any questions on that one?
Not on that, but we do have a couple other questions that have come in. Number one, since we just talked about the vent blocks, Michael Winmore was asking, what size are the vent blocks?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. Yes, so they do make 3 different sizes, so that can be pretty fun to hunt for. Each side of your vent is actually 7" by 7 3/4. So if you get something within that measurement, it's going to fit. Now, double your measurements, and that's what it's going to be before they're broken. But essentially, you want one panel to be 7" by 7 3/4", and that'll fit in your Hayden Home foundation vent.
Awesome. And then we have one other question. Chris was asking, is it okay to throw salt all over my driveway in the winter?
Wow, definitely not. Never use salt whatsoever. It's going to kill your concrete 100% of the time, every time. They also make a safe for concrete de-icer as well, which I have seen that ruin concrete as well. So there is nothing better than due diligence and a shovel. That's the best thing you can do for it. Otherwise, go down to your local playground, take their sand and throw it on their driveway for traction, or go to Home Depot or Lowe's and pick up a sandbag. But honestly, due diligence and a shovel is the only way to get kind of past that. But salt will ruin your concrete 100% of the time. Okay, and we do recommend you seal your concrete. That'll help protect your investment as well. They make solvent-based sealers and they make water-based sealers. So water-based sealers you're going to have to put on a little bit more often. Solvent-based sealers you can probably get away with every other year. But yeah, that's a long answer to your short question.
Awesome. Chris also says, by the way, looking sharp, Shay.
Oh, thank you.
We don't currently have any other questions, so if that is it, we will wrap it up.
We're almost there. We got to talk about irrigation. So I just wanted to remind folks, with your irrigation system, it's highly recommended that you blow out your irrigation system, especially in the wintertime like we're in now. So you want to be thinking about blowing out between around Halloween or even before, and then you can turn it back on roughly around Mother's Day. Just kind of depends what works best for you. But you want to get it blown out by a professional landscaper. Definitely don't want to recommend you do it yourself, because if you do it yourself and say you didn't get all the water out and it freezes and breaks, that responsibility to fix it is on you. Whereas if you have a landscaper come out and do it and they don't get all the water out, most of them are going to honor it and take care of you. So definitely recommend having a licensed landscaper do the blowouts for you.
Terry says, great information, thank you. Do you say when you recommend having those blown out here in Central Oregon?
Yeah, in Central Oregon, we're thinking about Halloween, roughly around Halloween. So the month of October is a really good time for it. Just get on their books, get on any landscaper's schedule, preferably a month before blowout, just so that you're not surprised and you're scrambling to try to find somebody to do your blowouts for you. But yeah, Halloween is about when you want to do it. And then again, turn it back on roughly around Mother's Day. It just depends on how the weather shows us these days.
We don't have any other questions currently.
All right. Well, if any come up, don't hesitate to interrupt me. But I will turn it over to Erica and let her finish it up there.
Sorry, that's just kidding. Chris has one more question. What is a good irrigation schedule during the shoulder season when the cold weather is coming in and out?
Ooh, an irrigation, your yard's not going to take a whole lot of water, especially when we're kind of in that limbo area where should we water or should we not water? My recommendation, and everybody's going to have a different opinion on this, is, probably 10 minutes every other day, maybe twice a day, wouldn't hurt to get water in your grass. But as the colder temperatures show up, your grass does kind of go dormant. So it's really hard to say where you're located and when you need to, what your watering practice should be. But I would definitely recommend leaving your irrigation going at least a minimum 10 minutes. And then also, that's really all I got right there for that one. It's a good question. You got me.
Thank you, Shay.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move along over to Erica unless you got some more.
Awesome tips and tricks. Thanks, Shay. Thanks so much for joining us for our Facebook Live. If you missed any of this, please be sure to check our Facebook page. It will be posted here shortly. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good day.